Hi, everyone. It's Thursday of our wonderful Divorcing Intact virtual summit, and I am so excited about today for a couple reasons. Our theme today for Thursday, April 7th, is the financial consequences of divorce, and I am over the moon to have Cary Carbonaro with me, and her book is The Money Queen. And I love it. You can see I already marked pages that I want to talk to Cary about. But hi, Cary, how are you?
Everyone.
I'm just going to tell everybody about you for 1 minute, and I'm going to put my glasses on. Cary is our topic today, or our theme today is how to be the queen of your finances, and you can reign over your financials after divorce. I love that because I would like to be queen again. Cary is AKA the Money Queen, and I just showed you her book, and she is a certified financial planner with an MBA in finance and over 25 years of experience in the financial services. In 2014, she was named an ambassador for the CFP board, one of only 50 in the United States. Congratulations. And Cary's latest book is The Money Queen's Guide for Women Who Want to Build Wealth and Banish Fear. And that came out in October, and it was #1 bestseller on Amazon. So congratulations on that. Wow. And in November, in March of just now, was named one of the 10 best books to make you rich by Daily Worth. So it's such an honor and a privilege to have you here, Cary. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I have the book open, and I want to talk to you about this quote. And I put this pretty big sticky here. So the Money Queen fact: the number of older women living in poverty is 50% higher than older women living in poverty. That's unbelievable.
Actually, the statistics keep getting worse. Actually, the most recent statistic was done by NRIS, which if you want to Google it, you can take a look. And it says that women over 65 are 80% more likely to be in poverty than men.
That is staggering. That is staggering.
Yes, it is. It is unbelievable. So, and you wonder why the bag lady fear is alive and well.
Right. I am so, passionate about financial health. My coaching is basically emotional health and emotional resilience, but part of that financial well-being is so closely related to that emotional stamina, especially when you're facing a divorce. Maybe it's a vanilla kind of divorce, or these high conflict divorces with women going through this really at a disadvantage because of their stature, or because of their money power. So I was hoping that we could talk about that. How can, what is a couple things you can do even before you file for divorce to create, financial resilience, if that's a word.
Yes, well, I think it's interesting. So one of the issues that I find with women in my, 25 years of experience working with women in finance is that they are less financially literate than the males. And that's not everyone. It's just a generalization of women versus men. So one of the most important things that I tell women is that they need to know their numbers. So how many women know what's coming in and what's going out each month, which is their budget. That's like step one. Okay. And that's a really important number to know and to get a handle on. That's #1, because from there you can realize your financial freedom is in what's left over of what you're not spending. Right? So that's where you create your future, in what's left over. You also need to know what your net worth is. So your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. So assets are anything that you own, your house, your car, your money in the bank, your retirement account, minus what you owe, your mortgage, your credit cards, which I hope you're not carrying a balance on, your student loans, any type of thing that you're paying monthly, and then equals your net worth. So, and what I find is a lot of women don't know that number and don't realize that that number is supposed to grow every year. And that's what, when I work with women, that's one of the things that we focus on is it's kind of like you're shining a light on it to see what it is. So, and then I always tell women that, you know, if you have a negative net worth, that your negative net worth does not equal your self-worth, because this is a place to start. So let's say you do have a negative net worth. The whole goal is to grow it every year anyway. So let's say it's, I don't know, I'm making it up, negative $5,000.
Right.
So next year, you're going to go to make it flat, to make it zero. And then the year after that, you're going to grow it so that it's in the positive. So every single year you want to get it better. And you do that by practicing financial literacy and learning these principles that I talk about in my book. Because if you follow them, you're going to make all the right moves with money. So I think that that's a good step to start before you even decide about going to a divorce attorney.
Right. And is figuring out where you are at the moment.
Yes. And so many women don't even know that. And it's funny because when I meet with them and I say, I don't even know how you can sleep at night without knowing these numbers. Like to me, I think you feel like you have so much more control in your life, knowing where you are financially and having this financial literacy knowledge. It makes you use it every day. I was teaching a class, or actually I was speaking at a high school the other day, and I was telling them, I said, you know, you use financial literacy and this financial know-how every single day of your life. Every decision you make is related to financial literacy. Am I going to go out? How much am I going to spend? Am I going to buy that expensive dinner, or am I going to buy the cheap dinner? Am I going to go out with my friends and we're going to go to a movie afterwards? How much am I going to cost? How much is it going to cost? Am I going to go to the close theater or the far theater? And how much is it going to cost me in gas? I said, every single thing you do in your life has a cost, and it has a long-term ramification of what you're doing. So that's the problem. I think that most women they're so busy and they're so overworked and multitasked that they don't think of the long-term ramifications of their decisions that they make today, because they're just trying to get through today.
I think that that's spot on, especially, you know, you're so busy doing all the hats that we wear every day, and if you're in a partnership or a relationship, you know, typically one person takes the lead and the other person takes the lead, you know, and even in that scenario, if you combined your money, there's still other things that you don't necessarily know that's going on. And and I'm sure when you're helping women, you run into a great number of women who had things happening to their financial well-being that they had no clue was even going on.
Well, it even happened to me.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that's why I talk about it in my book. I tell my story about what happened to me and financial infidelity, and it's a big deal. And that's another thing that I teach women all the time is, if you're going to get in a relationship with somebody, or if you're going to even get serious and move to the next step of marriage, or even moving in together, you need to have full financial disclosure. So you need to know everything that they make, everything that they have, their credit score, what their assets are, what their liabilities are, you know, what their skeletons in the closet are, what their spending is, what their average amount that they're charging on their credit cards are, everything. Because when you're merging your life, you're not only merging your life, you're merging your money.
Well, that word, financial infidelity, that's awesome. And I know that that's your term, you know, you coined that phrase, and to be honest with you, that you saying it was the first time I heard it. And there's such a sting to that. You know, there's such a sting when you're on the receiving end of financial infidelity, when you as a woman give your trust to someone and you're in an intimate relationship. But what you just said is spot on. I wonder how many women do have that conversation. You know, let's have this out on the table. What is your financial wherewithin and what's going on? You know, because I know I didn't. I didn't have that.
Right.
I knew what I was told, but I didn't say, let's schedule a meeting and talk about this, because there's long-term ramifications to combining without knowing the full details.
Right. Well, and unfortunately, if somebody is going to lie, they're going to lie anyway. So, I mean, it's not that I didn't ask the right questions. I asked the right questions. I was just lied to with the answers.
Yeah.
So it's not that I didn't know what to do, and it's not that I didn't know what to ask. But when somebody wants to lie, they're dishonest or deceitful, it's going to happen. Unfortunately, it usually doesn't come out until you're getting divorced, or it's the impetus for divorce when you do find out.
Right. And I can speak from my situation. It was, you can move away from pain or towards pleasure. To me, it was just a reaction. I'm filing, and I didn't take the steps necessary to ensure my financial safety, along with that, with my children, because of, because it was, okay, let's just cut the dog's tail and zip. And so now, years later, I'm still playing catch up to, and it's, I wish I know now what I knew then. And that's why I'm so grateful you're here, because you're giving tools that what we both know now that we wish we knew then, right?
Right. Well, it's interesting because there's other statistics, and I actually don't know them off the top of my head, but I just know the numbers are staggering of how many women are worse off after a divorce than if they stay in the marriage, which is why so many women stay. They stay for financial security, but it may not be the best thing for them. My goal would be for every woman to stand on their own feet financially, to not have to rely on a man, to be able to support themselves financially. And you know what? With that comes freedom, and comes, it's a self-esteem builder. It's so that you don't have to rely on a man. And then if you choose to have a man in your life, that's fine. But the point is that you can still support yourself at all costs. And that's more important than settling in a marriage or staying in an abusive relationship, all because of the money.
Right.
And you're giving up a piece of your soul if you do that.
Right. I was just speaking with a client, and it's that sense of feeling, and I don't know if you had this, Cary, but it's that V8 moment. She was having the V8 moment, like, how did I let this happen? The afterwards, just looking at the whole situation, like, how did this happen? How did I let this happen? And I think once you make a decision and you move forward with the decision, then you're able to see, differently, when you're removed out of the situation. So I think it's so important not to feel that shame, not to feel the financial shame of your.
Well, I think every woman, beats themselves up over this. Why did my marriage fail, or why didn't I do this? And but I think personally, I believe that for me, therapy worked for me. I went to a therapist for a long time because I had to figure out why I was even in this situation in the first place, and I had to get strong enough to be able to walk away from it, and not financially, but emotionally. Right.
Definitely.
So.
And then you compound that with, the financial, the emotional, the spiritual, dark night of the soul. And then if you're a mom, you make a decision to radically change your lifestyle, but you're changing your children's. And that statistic, women do, fare very differently, I think, than men at the end of a divorce. Your lifestyle will radically change along with your children's. And so I think if you could just talk a little bit about, just 3 strategies. I know that you and I were talking before, and I shared with you that when I was in the process of divorcing, I had 1 credit card in my name. Everything else was within my ex-husband's name first. And so when he went ahead and reported everything stolen, which it wasn't, and I was left in a position of having that one credit card, I was like, praise the Lord, that I had that credit card since I was 20 when this happened.
Right.
So, if you're listening to this now and in that very uncomfortable place of trying to make a decision, should you stay, should you go, what are the two things that you should do right away, regardless if you're going to stay or if you're going to leave?
Well, you should definitely have a credit card in your name. You should always have a credit card in your name. Like you said, since you were in your 20s, there's no need to have a joint credit card unless you want one, but no matter what, you need a card in your name. So every woman should have a credit card in their own name. You should also have a bank account in your own name. Every woman should have a bank account in their own name. It's so funny because even with my ex-husband, we kept our money separate. It still didn't help the situation when we came to the divorce, but that's really important that you have your own bank account, you have your own credit card. Those are two like lifeline type of things. The other thing I always say is if you can start to gather what I call an emergency fund, or if you already have one, you're going to need it because that's something that you need anyway. And you might need it for a retainer, for a divorce attorney, or whatever. Even if you have to move out or be on your own for a little bit, you need to have the money in the bank. It's interesting because what I find is, even myself, I remember when I went to the attorney for the first time, and he said, "Why are you in the house?" And I said, because my business is there, my client files are there, my stuff is there. And he said, "Are you kidding me? Get out of the house." And he goes, "I don't care what you're talking about."
Was it your house or were you renting?
It was my house. It was my house. It was in my name. It was in both of our names. And he told me to get out of the house. And so I did. And I moved out, and it's a long story, but anyway. But it was interesting because I was trying to stay in the house while we were going through the divorce. So right. I don't know. A lot of people do that. And I think that they do it for money or for whatever reason. I don't know. But it was funny. So for me, I felt like when he said that to me that night, he goes, "I don't care." He goes, "You don't go back to that house. You go straight to a hotel." And I thought to myself, I'm sitting in the hotel that night, I'm like, am I homeless? Does this mean I'm homeless now? I don't have a house because my ex-husband is in I had a house in New York and a house in Florida, and I was in Florida and I was sitting in a hotel. And he goes, "I don't care what you have to do. Go to your other house." He goes, "Just get out." So.
And so you had that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm homeless. I don't know where to go. Yeah. And then what happened?
And then I went to the hotel. And then I wound up going to a friend's house that night. I was at the hotel and I didn't want to be there, so then I went to a friend's house. But it's awful. It feels awful to have to rely on somebody else when you're going through that, because it's such an emotionally, driven time, and you just think like it's never going to end.
Right.
But it will.
And you know what? That's such a great point, because you feel like it's never going to end and you just want it to end, and you're willing to advocate your queen throne about your money to get out of it. And that goes to having the team, which is a wonderful financial person and being educated financially, but it's also having a lawyer that will not let you jump ship before it's appropriate, because something happens within the relationship and within the dynamics that it's not it's war, and I don't want to say it like that, but women come to the table. And I've done a lot of studying about this to come out in my next book about, emotional resilience. But women are driven by fairness. I should say some women, most women that I've been interviewing are driven by fairness. What's fair?
Absolutely.
And then you go into a court system that's for win or lose. And then the male brain isn't like that. The male brain isn't about fairness. The male brain is really about winning. So, when that man said to you, get out of the house, that was more of a feeling for you. Like, this is my house. I'm living here. I'm working here. This is my cocoon, my nest, right? And then, so you need that team. You need that team for your lawyer when, it just happened. I'm like, I'm just going to walk and do whatever I need to do to take care of my business. And they're like, time out. No, you don't do that. So I think that's so important to have an ally in a financial planner. And I know that you have a way on your website that people can connect with you. So let's say that, because I want people to know they can reach out, that you do this, that you coach people, that you counsel people, that this is what you do.
This is what I do. So my website is moneyqueenguide.com. You can reach me there. You can also reach me. I'm so easy to reach on social media. You can reach me at Cary Carbonaro on Twitter, or at Money Queen Guide on Twitter. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Cary Carbonaro, CFP Money Queen. But you can just put Cary Carbonaro. I'm the only one in the actually, no, I'm the only one in the world. So I'm really easy to find. I'm the only one with my name. And then also, what else? Oh, Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. I have at Cary Carbonaro and at Money Queen Guide on Facebook. So I'm really easy to find.
Well, what's going to be great too, after this video will be up on a page and everything will be underneath, and all people will have to do is click to find you. So do you mind sharing what happened? So after you went to the hotel, you got your legs underneath you and you move forward. And so what would you say to someone, now, what now that you really wished you knew then about this financial infidelity, which I love that word.
So, well, what happened with me is I actually did ask the questions, though. I did ask, where's the money? Where's this? Where's that? But for example, let me tell you what happened with taxes. So, my ex-husband ran.
I lost you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
There we are. Okay, good. So I'm going to talk about taxes, for example. So my ex-husband had about, I don't know, multiple 20 businesses. I don't know, so many. Some of them were just kind of shell corps. So I don't really know what were actually businesses and what weren't. But again, he did his thing and I did my thing. So my thing, I was a certified financial planner. I had my own clients. I had my own business. So I did my own taxes. I did my own, everything was myself. And then what would happen, because we were married, tax returns would come, and he would delay because I would always try to file like April 15th or whatever. Right. And he would delay till the last possible time, which was October 15th. And October 15th would come, and the tax returns would come in a box that was as high as my waist. That's how large the tax returns were, because there was so many different companies of what he was doing. He was a tax attorney, and I honestly had no idea what he was doing because it didn't affect me. I was busy with my life and my career. Mm-hmm. So when the tax returns would come, I would say, every time when we would file our joint tax return, I would say, how much money do we owe? And he would say, nothing. And I'd say, I paid my own estimated taxes for my business, but I never understood why we didn't owe any money. So, and I'd always say to him, I don't understand why we don't owe any money. And he would say, it doesn't matter. It's my businesses. Sign here or else. And it was like October 15th, and I literally had to sign there or else I would not be compliant with tax law. Right. So I would do it, and I would sign it, and then I would ask after the fact, can I please see the tax returns for your businesses? They would literally be under lock and key, and I was not allowed to see them. I never had access to the key. And I sometimes try to find the key and try to get into the cabinet when he went to the gym, but I was unsuccessful. And then when I used to say that I wanted to get divorced from him, he would tell me, you are not, the IRS is not going to believe that you're an innocent spouse.
Oh God.
You are a relatively famous financial planner. He would never tell me I was a famous financial planner, because that would like almost be a compliment.
Right.
So
right.
he would say, "You're a relatively famous financial planner. The IRS is never going to believe that you didn't know what happened with the tax returns." And that fear was hanging over my head for years. Years. It kept me in the marriage because I was afraid.
I'm sorry.
I know. Okay. It's okay. You know what? Like I said, my whole reason for and it's so funny because the whole time I was in this horrible marriage and all this stuff was happening to me, I kept saying, there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason. I don't deserve any of this, and I'm such a good person, and all I want to do is help people. And so now I use this to help people. So that's why it happens.
Well, you know what? I love that about you, because that's what my feeling was about it. Like, why am I going through this? And then the sense that comes over is, I can't have another person go through this. We're going to talk about this. We're going to empower people. We're going to, once we filed and we had temporary orders, my ex-husband, it was of course right around, filing taxes. And, we were supposed to file an extension, and lo and behold, I called the CPA that he used, and I never went to the meetings. Why would I go? I was married to a financial planner. Why would I go? I trusted him. So I called him to talk to him about the taxes, because to prepay the tax, even though we were filing the extension, because we had just filed separation, and he filed the income tax without me seeing it or signing it. And when I called him, the same kind of things. I'm like, the court order said you weren't supposed to file the taxes.
Right.
And when I called the gentleman who did it, he's like, I had your husband's verbal okay, and you said yes last year, so we filed them. I never ever saw that. And when I queried everybody about this, because I was so afraid about it, it was basically, well, you're going to have to prove you're an injured spouse. And so it was the same thing. That was like one thing. Like, why would you, against a court order, file our taxes? And I didn't sign them. I didn't see them. And it took, the lawyer to get a copy of the taxes. It's just, it's phenomenal about, as much as you and I said, I know why this happened, so we can help other people and bring light to this. There's such darkness in other places. And, we think we're all alone in our experience, but when I'm reading for my book that I'm doing in this amazing summit, there's so many similarities across the board to really dynamic, powerful women who have this, and I'm going to say emotionally unworthiness that allows them to tolerate being treated in a way that is not respectful of the divinity of who they are. Because you're in a contract with your husband if you're married, and even if you're not, you're in a contract, a verbal vow, and to be treated in such a disrespectful manner, financial infidelity is right up there with all the other things that are going on when you're in a high conflict divorce.
Well, and also when, money is power, in that sense that, if you have it, you feel like you're more in control. Right. And I've seen, honestly, in my entire career, I've never seen a woman use money to control a man, but I've seen men use money to control women hundreds of times.
Mm-hmm. It's sad. And so, you know what? That's why we're having this conversation. Because if you're sitting home listening to this video and you're like, holy God, that's happening to me. Or, oh my God, I can't believe they just said that. Or I didn't know there was financial abuse. There is such a thing as financial abuse.
Yes.
And you're not alone. And you can reach out to me and reach out to Cary and, build your team, build that community around you so that you can make the best and highest choice for yourself. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? You're worth it, and you only have one life. And don't settle.
no, never again. So we're hoping that you're going to reign over your financial world. And that's this amazing book. Go get this book. It's called The Money's Queen Guide. I love that because I was even doing a wave, and I was like, oh, we should wear tiaras while we're doing this.
Yes, exactly.
And you're you're giving away a chapter to the book. That's one of your goodies.
Two chapters.
Oh, thank you so much. So once again, that'll be under the video, and how someone can get a hold of you, and then go get the book. And we could have a book club. When everybody gets your book, and we can all talk about it.
Great book club.
Yeah, that'd be a great book club. So thank you so much, Cary, and you're such a financial warrior, and I love that you're taking this charge for all us women. So God bless, and stay in touch, and buy the book.
Thank you. Same to you. Namaste.
Namaste. Great job. Talk to you soon. Bye, honey.